Growth only happens through resistance. So in other words, we only get better when we go through challenges. Nothing good comes from a comfort zone. Muscles grow from stress. They tear, they break down, then you rest and they repair and they get stronger. And then we repeat that process. That's how your bones get stronger. That's how your connective tissue gets stronger. It does not get stronger from just sitting idle, from being inactive or sedentary. It does not. It breaks down and it actually erodes. It's called atrophy. So we gotta stay in motion physically. Same way emotionally. We have to continue to stress ourselves or be in stressed conditions in order to grow and to benefit or to get better, to improve. Our character gets better when we lose at something, when we fail at something. We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 Strength and Health Authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode on the Strong by Design podcast. Hosting today, Coach Chris Wilson. Thrilled to have you. Thank you for listening. I'm so glad that you found this podcast. If you are brand new to our show, if you are a past listener, I can't thank you enough for coming back, continuing to listen, to download, to support us, and all that we stand for here on Strong by Design. Hopefully we have helped your life in some way with a past episode or multiple past episodes. Really, I can't take any credit other than just hitting record and talking to the best people. We've had so many terrific people as guests on the show who are so experienced and so wise and so thought-provoking and challenging, and it's really helped me grow as a person over the last 8 years. What a gift to be able to speak with people and get to know them and then get to share that conversation with all of our listeners, with just thousands of people who have continued to support us along the way. And again, for all of you new listeners out there, what a thrill to get a new listener. And we just hope that you enjoy the messages on this podcast and then share them with friends and family members. This episode today is something I've kicked around and I've had notes for several weeks, and finally pulling the trigger on what I think will be a very helpful, powerful subject for you. And I think we all, no matter our background, no matter our age, no matter our experiences, I think we all can benefit from what I'm talking about today. And just putting notes together was a huge benefit to me personally. So talking today about trials and triumphs, how this looks and the different ways this can look in our lives, the different ways it can show up. So if I was to talk to you about a past challenge of my own, a past trial of my own, a good place to start. How about the loss of a job? Most jobs in my life, I've left. I've never been fired or let go until this one job that I had back in 2009. And it's the one time where I was I get fired, if you will, for lack of production, for underperformance. And somebody has to take the hit on that, especially when you are the general manager. So here's a real quick glimpse into this time period. It's 2008. It's the summer right before the recession, which pretty much hit August, September of 2008. Just prior to that, by a month or two, I was elevated in the company I worked for to general manager. I got my own store. So I had been an assistant manager. This is in the furniture business, mind you. It was my full-time gig while I was doing part-time personal training and coaching in the mornings. And my full-time role was in sales for a large furniture company down here in Florida that no doubt you've heard of if you are a Floridian. And I was elevated from an assistant store manager. I had worked for a few of the different locations, and they gave me my own store, which was great, right? Can't say no to that. But, it wasn't one of the best stores in the company, but I was the GM. I was the boss. So how cool. So I get this store, and numbers aren't great. I mean, and then the recession hits, and the rest of 2008 numbers were really not good, especially in comparison to other locations in the company. And beginning of 2009, things aren't getting any better. When January is supposed to be kind of your one of your better months. January, February, and I think it was right at the very end, the last couple days of February, where I had a visit from a regional guy. Higher, not the president, not the top dog, but somebody right below him came for a visit, and I'm pretty sure it was unannounced. And because they don't want you prepared for these things, they just show up. And again, I wasn't used to this because I was always a hard worker, always showed up. I was assistant manager for one of the biggest stores in the company that did very, very well, and that's why they gave me my own store. So I had been doing everything right, if you will, for years. And I get this visit, and within, I don't know, I even know if he was in the building for 10 minutes, maybe it was 10 or 15 minutes, I had no job. And that was bizarre feeling. I had never had that feeling before of being let go. But, the numbers were the numbers. We were one of the worst performing stores in the company. I was very young. This is a long time ago. This is 17 years ago. So I was 33 years old as a general manager, managing, 20 some odd people at the store at that location. Probably a lack of experience, a lack of maturity, a lack of other things at that young age. And, let go and didn't know what the hell just happened. But I find myself out in my car, leaving the building in the middle of the day thinking, what is my next move? So that's a trial, right? That is a valley moment. And we've all been there. It might look different for you, but a lot of people listening probably have been let go from something before that they didn't see coming. And I knew numbers weren't great, but I really didn't think I'd be losing my job. So I'm sitting in my car, and a vice president of a former company I work for popped into my head. I had been in conversations with them prior to getting elevated to the general manager position that summer before. And I just remember that an old company of mine was opening stores on the west coast of Florida, and they were highly interested in me coming back to that company. And I just thought of this guy, and I'm like, I got to call him, like right now, and just let him know I'm available, and I'll take whatever I can get. I'll tell you, we spoke. I had a brief conversation with him, but he pretty much assured me that within about a week or so that I would be lined up for a position with them. Now, the closest location to me at the time was an hour away. I wasn't hot, or maybe over an hour. I wasn't really hot on that commute, but I was willing to do just about anything to have a job because I didn't like the feeling of not having a job at all. And the personal training income, at 10 to 20 grand a year wasn't going to sustain me, which was a part-time work for me for many years. And I just remember getting home and being at home, my wife getting home from work, and her wondering why I was home. And I said, well, I said, I got good news and bad news. And she was like, what in the hell? I'll say, I'll give you the bad news first. I was fired today, and the look on her face was that look that you would get from somebody who's shocked. And I could see her anxiety rising. And then I immediately followed it up with, however, I spoke to Gene, the gentleman's name who I spoke with from my old company, and I already have something lined up, and I'll probably have a job with my old company within like a week, which gave her instant relief. But I tell you that to tell you this, that sometimes things like this happen in our lives that we don't see coming. We don't understand why. We don't know all the, and if we sit there and get sucked into the trying to understand why and trying to, dissect the situation, why it unfolded the way it did, I think it's okay to spend a little bit of time there, but really it's all about the windshield, facing forward and looking at what's coming at you rather than looking in the rearview mirror of what's behind you and spending too much time in reflection mode. I was instantly, my brain switched when I was sitting in my car after getting let go to, okay, what's next? I got to turn, this chapter's over. This book is done. I got to find a new book. I got to go to a new chapter, whatever it is. And I instantly flipped that page and was ready for what's next. And I think that's a great life lesson. Sometimes we have to just get over ourselves, get over the moment, and allow ourselves to push forward and to see what's waiting for us, see something, a better opportunity perhaps, rather than reflecting so much or being stuck on what we've just lost. Okay, and I'll touch on some of these feelings and emotions as we go through this, but I think a lot of us get stuck there, right? I mean, we can lose a job maybe that we really liked and just be, stressed out, depressed, upset, grieving, and kind of be lingering there for days and weeks, maybe even months. And maybe I'm just not the guy who's going to sit home and collect unemployment. I'm not going to do it. I'm a worker. I'm a provider. I'm somebody that wants to have some purpose and to be moving in life. And so that was one of those rare moments where I had that gut punch where I wasn't sure what my next move was, but something triggered me and reminded me, like, hey, dude, you're good. You got connections. You've typically, if I've left a job, I've left on good terms so that maybe there's an opportunity, a door ajar for, maybe going back, even though it might look different. So that was a trial, but became a triumph. In fact, I'll complete the story by saying I did get on with that company. I worked for them for several months, and another opportunity much closer to where I lived opened up that I didn't see coming at the time. I really didn't. I reached out in good faith to this gentleman who I was very close to. We used to do adventure races together, a lot of mountain biking and stuff. He was in great shape. He was a trainer at this company. He was a VP for the old company I worked for. One of the coolest guys. We were very good, friendly with each other. And that's why I reached out to him. And he got me in. I was working. And then this other opportunity where I was actually doing all my personal training and coaching, they needed a manager, a general manager to run. It was a tennis and fitness center, and it was the town over from where I lived. And I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no. And so I felt bad kind of getting this new job with my old company, and then within a matter of months leaving there to go to another new job. But it was too good of an opportunity to pass up, and being so proximity close to where I lived, and I was already rooted there because I knew everybody. I had been working there for years as a trainer in the early mornings. I was very comfortable there, so I couldn't say no to that opportunity. So again, I endured a trial, and ended up in triumph with stuff that was happening, that was moving, things that were moving and happening that I really didn't have control over. They just kind of came to me, just because I continued to show up, to be gritty, right, and to stay positive and be a hard worker. So all I can say is set that expectation for yourself of growth opportunity, of having faith through the crisis, through the hard times, through the hardships, and have that perspective of like, okay, what's next? Now what? Rather than woe is me, I'm a failure, and lingering in that, Sure, you can have a few days of that if you need to, but you need to be able to get over that and surround yourself with people who can talk you into a better place. So we all are going to face the valleys, right? And we're all going to have mountaintop moments too. It's not to say that we're not going to have those great moments, but in between those great moments are certainly some difficult ones. No one is exempt from those valley moments. And what happens in those moments, those trials that we're dealing with, we can feel super isolated. Even though these are universal experiences. Everyone goes through these moments. Everyone does. But when we're in it, I'm talking to you listening or to me, when we're in it, it's a very personal thing. It's a problem that we're experiencing in real time. It can feel super isolating, like no one really truly understands the struggle I'm in right now, the grief I'm dealing with. No one gets me right now. This is super difficult. You just want to kind of curl up in a ball and lock yourself away because it can feel very isolating. And we get stuck asking these questions. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Stuff like this always happens to me, right? That negative self-talk or stinking thinking, that was an old furniture sales trainer, Tom. His name was Tom, this big husky guy with this great deep voice. He had a voice for radio. He was awesome. Super cool dude. Learned a lot from him, and when it came to sales, but he would say you can't get caught with stinking thinking because there's just really no good outcome from it. There isn't. When your head's not on right, and and this happens to all of us. I'm not immune to this. This happens. I have bouts of stinking thinking. I recognize them and I try to get past them quickly. It doesn't do you any good. So get through those moments as quickly as possible. Sometimes you just need a kick in the butt from a friend or from a coworker or from a mentor or from a spouse or from somebody in your life, a sibling. Hopefully, so surround yourself with people that can be honest with you and help you get over those quick times, those moments quickly, so that we go from asking the question, "Why is this happening to me?" to "What is this teaching me?" Not that is an easy shift. It's not super tough, I think, to flip from "Why is this happening to me?" to "What is this teaching me?" But I've talked to a lot of people and thought about this quite a bit over the years, and it's exactly where we need to go because I've had issues I'm quick to anger with things. I'm also over my anger quickly too, if that makes sense. I can be quick to anger, but I can be quickly out of my anger. But it comes at a cost because the people that I'm angry to or angry with, right, that hurts them. And they don't get over it maybe as quickly as I do. So, that's something I've dealt with for decades is my quick to anger, the impulsive, like harsh word, right? Or being loud or something like that, overly enthusiastic which becomes a detriment for me. But I have gotten better at reflecting as I've gotten older to asking what is this teaching me, not why is this happening to me? Because we all are dealing with difficult things and trials It's not just me that this is happening to. We all go through these moments, and it's just perspective. It's just shifting just a little bit. How in this moment, how can I maybe respond differently or better or different from past occasions or experiences? So, okay, one really important thing that we need to remember. If you're going to have one takeaway, honestly, and hopefully you have more than one takeaway from this today, but if you're going to have one, it's to remember this, that growth only happens through resistance. Growth only happens through resistance. So in other words, we only get better when we go through challenges. We're only going to get better when we go through challenges. So it's a fact that nothing good comes from a comfort zone. It might be nice for a minute to exist in your comfort zone, but really you can't stay there. Nothing really good comes from it. Muscles grow from what? Muscles grow from stress. Repeated, consistent stress. That's how your muscles grow. They tear, they break down, then you rest, and they repair, and they get stronger. And then we repeat that process over and over and over again. That's how your body gets better. That's how your body gets stronger. That's how you get more muscle tone. That's how your bones get stronger. That's how your connective tissue gets stronger. It does not get stronger from just sitting idle, from being inactive or sedentary. It does not. It breaks down, and it actually erodes. It's called atrophy, right? If you don't use your body, you lose it. It's scientifically, it couldn't be more documented, right? What happens to the body when it's not in motion over periods of time. And this is what happens, unfortunately, with our seniors, with our older adults who stop moving their body and being physically active. Their bodies break down. They're more vulnerable to hurting themselves or to, catastrophic injury if they fall, right? Because their bodies cannot take it. So we got to stay in motion physically. Same way emotionally. Same way, professionally, or any way you look at it, right? We have to continue to stress ourselves or be in stressed conditions in order to grow and to benefit or to get better, to improve. Our character gets better when we lose at something, when we fail at something. How about another great example, right? Losing weight. Losing weight's hard, right? It's hard to change your body. It's hard to change your body composition, to go from somebody that's holding a little bit too much fat to somebody who's holding more muscle, right? And regardless of what the scale says, it's changing that composition from being overweight to being at a healthy weight with more muscle tone. And it can take months for people to have noticeable improvement at this. This does not happen in a matter of days or weeks. It does not. Regardless of what the scale, again, says. This is a long process of consistently doing the right things over and over again and just repeating that, okay? That's discipline. That's hard. It's not easy. You're enduring a trial when you're putting your body through, nutritional change, when you're putting your body through exercise regimens, right? These are trials. These are stressful. These are difficult. But you get the reps, you put in the work, things improve, you see little glimmers of change, and that is encouraging, and that's motivating. And I want to stay on this path, this narrow path that most people fall off of and throw in the towel. It's not easy to stay on this path. However, I think I can do it again. And again, it's bite-sized pieces. What can I do today to improve, right? What can I do today? What can I do tomorrow? Just keep it very realistic. Don't start thinking weeks and months down the road. Just live in the moment. What can I do today? I've been at this for many, many years in my life, and I've had moments where I'm really, really good and disciplined, and I get my body right to where I want it to be. I am not a stage-ready competitor. I'm not looking to get to 7% body fat. I'm really not. I like to be in the like low teens, or just somewhere between 10 to 15% body fat, and not carry extra fat on my body. And I'm working back towards that right now. In fact, by the time this releases, this episode, I will be at my goal weight. I know I will be, because I've been tracking or trending that way. I've lost like 15 pounds in the last, I don't know, in the last like 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. So anyway, I tell you all that because the adversity that you're going through is what reveals who you are, your character, and builds that resilience. If you don't push yourself through difficult things, whatever those things are, doing an accelerated course to get with education. My wife did this. She was a veterinary nurse for 20 years. She always had regrets that she didn't just become a veterinarian out of college. And she was just assisting veterinarians, worked for a lot of clinics, and she was awesome at what she did. But she kind of always regretted that she didn't just follow her dreams. So she's like, you know what? I want to be a nurse. I want to do an accelerated program. She is brilliant. And so she flew through this 2-year process. It was very difficult for the family. She's basically barely working. We're on basically one income. She's in school, accelerated program, taking tests. It's hard. We got 2 kids, all this stuff going on. She gets through it. She's a nurse, registered nurse. She got Nurse of the Year in 2025 for the company she works for. She's a hospice nurse. She goes and takes care of people that are in the final stages of life. My wife pursued something that was very, very difficult. And she went through a trial, and she's now triumphant, right? She's kicking ass as a nurse, making way more money. I don't know, probably a more fulfilling role in life. And I couldn't be more proud of her. And I've told her that before. So hopefully she listens to this episode and hears it again. But how awesome is that? You're never too late. And, my wife and I'm 50. She's turning 50 this year. She did this at 47 years old? You're never too old to do something that you've dreamt of, or something that you have regrets about. If you still have breath in your lungs, you can do something. Don't give up on yourself. Yeah, without the hardships, there's no real reference point for your joy and your success. What are you going to be proud of if you didn't have to work like hell to get to where you got? So here's a simple line. You don't discover your strength until it's required. You don't discover your strength until it's required. You don't know exactly what you're capable of until you're pushed, right? Until you're up against it, right? What are you going to do now? I wanted to talk about the connection that we all have when we go through a struggle, especially like the loss of a loved one. Okay, we've all endured that at some stage, right? Whether we were young and lost a grandparent, God forbid, when we were middle-aged and we lost a parent or a sibling or a close friend, or at my age now, I've lost parents, I've lost a sibling, I've lost, obviously, all my grandparents are gone. I've friends. I've lost a lot in my life, and it's never easy. But it does build empathy and relatability. So we're better at understanding other people's feelings and emotions when they go through those struggles. So we can be there for our family, for our friends, our neighbors, and our coworkers, even strangers who are dealing with those same things, maybe for the first time. It puts us on that level with them, an authenticity there that you can't fake, right? If you've never had tremendous loss, it's very hard. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to be there for somebody, but when you've been through it and you go to somebody, they can feel your grief and your love through that difficult moment. Your pain becomes that bridge to help others, and it creates, I think, a desire in you that you wouldn't have at a certain level to see others through this difficult time, right? Because you know it's possible. You've been through it yourself. You've gotten through it. It doesn't mean it doesn't still hurt. It just means that, we all have to process things and get through very difficult things because, the loss of a child I couldn't imagine. And I got to think that that's the hardest loss. Obviously, the loss of a spouse would probably be right there with it, equivalent. But I think, gosh, the loss of a child has to be right there at the top of just the absolute worst that you can imagine. So, sometimes I think of my mother who was taking care of my brother who was dying with a brain tumor. And what that must have felt like for all those months that my mom literally moved from Florida where she lived up to Connecticut to support my sister-in-law and lived with them for about a 9-month period, helping to take care of my brother who was ailing from brain tumor and eventually passed away. And I can't imagine, but the strength that she had and the love together to see her son through that moment. Talk about a trial. But the triumph, I hope, and my mom has also passed away now, but I hope the triumph is that they're together in heaven and I'll see them again one day. But I think that shared struggle is what creates that deeper human connection that is probably the strongest connection that we all have as human beings. Is when we're together in support of one another with unimaginable grief and loss. So where does our strength come from? Where does our strength come from? Well, we have to look within. We have to look within for discipline. We have to look within for the right mindset and some self-reflection, certainly. We have to look to others for support, to be our support system. That's why you got to surround yourself with people that you know are looking out for your best interests. We look to mentors. Hopefully you have a mentor in your life, maybe somebody that was a coach or a teacher from when you were younger or from when you were, in school or from church, somebody like that that's knows you intimately and knows you without you having to divulge everything. They can just see it in you because they've just been around you enough, and they can be a huge help in your community, obviously. And then, of course, you have to look up. On the Strong by Design podcast, we talk about being strong in body, in mind, and in spirit. And we are not shy to talk about our Christian faith, our strong Christian faith. I mean, our mantra here is that you're made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're made in God's image. So we have to look up, and we have to be willing to surrender to our Creator and trust in God's plan, although we will not understand it. His ways are higher than our ways. Why did I lose my brother to a brain tumor when he was 41 years old? Well, 41, 42. Had just turned 42. Why did I lose my mom to cancer in 2016, 10 years ago? Why didn't my kids get to see more grandma and get to know my mom better? I mean, I feel like they missed out on one of the most wonderful human beings of all time, my mom. How cool. And my kids, while they both knew grandma, my daughter was only a year old, so she's not going to remember her. My son, he has memories of her. He was a bit older, but I'm not going to understand that. But maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I will. But we're not meant to carry this on our own or all alone, because we're never alone. Even when you're by yourself, you're not alone. Okay? Because the one who made you is with you. And if you allow him to, he's in you. So I have some scripture here. I have 7, because that's a good number. I had 7, some Old Testament, some New Testament, and these are great, very powerful. Maybe one of these or all of them can become some of your memorized scripture or favorite scripture to cling to. It's very important, I think, to have scripture memorized, even if it's just 3 to 5 verses that really mean something to you. It's very powerful to have the Word in you, things that you can recite, things you can lean on in those moments where you are by yourself. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. That's Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Probably heard of that one before. Some of these you might not have heard before. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. That's Paul in Romans 15:13. This is a good one. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. That's Jesus in John 14:27. Going to back to Old Testament, Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah is a wonderful book in the Bible. They're all wonderful, but Isaiah is extra special for me. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. Back to New Testament, James, the brother, half-brother of Jesus. James 1, 2 through 4. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. All of our faith is tested. But if we stand in our faith, we will get through it. Exodus 14:14. This is probably not one you've heard before. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Short and sweet. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Exodus. And another Old Testament piece of scripture from Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them. For it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Again, do not fear. He will not leave you. He goes with you. He will not forsake you. Okay? So, again, these are things to lean on, to remember in those moments, in those trials when we're feeling alone or separated or isolated, or that no one understands us. No one gets me right now. Trust me, God gets you. He understands. But so do others. And you have to be willing to let some people in, because they will help make your trial maybe a little bit better, or a little bit more tolerable, or shorten how long you're in that valley, and to help you kind of get back up on the mountaintop. So on the triumph side, wins in life feel different after the hardships. They feel earned. They're deeper and more meaningful, right? After a hardship, to have a win. Think of a long season in sports. Sports are always great for, I'm a sports guy. I've been a sports guy my whole life. All the sports teams I've been part of, championships and losses and moments and experiences and tears and frustration, but victories and just everything, all of it. But it's the victories, the championships are meaningless if we don't go through the process to get there, right? The breakthrough moments and the defeats, the coming together for that common purpose, that common goal as a team, the perseverance that's required, and eventually, every once in a while, you get the big win. I think of my son's closet at home. He has a lot of runner-up trophies, a lot of runner-up medals, and a few championship trophies and rings. A few. But a lot more of all the runner-up stuff, meaning he made it into the championship but lost. I was with him for pretty much all of those, because I've been coaching my son in baseball for 8 years. And it was a lot of, you could see it on our faces with holding those runner-up trophies. It's kind of like, it's not that pure joy that you would have had. But the moments where we did win, I have a ring right here. This one's special, extra. We worked hard for that ring. I say we because it was a team effort, right? I wasn't out there on the field. But I got him ready. And I think of all the practice. Please forgive me. I didn't know I was going to get this broken up about it. But, all those moments together, working hard in the backyard and going to the facility, just the two of us. Or maybe my wife and daughter came and they were helping shag fly balls or grounders or whatever. If you don't go through all those moments, the wins are meaningless. Think of your sports team, whether it's hockey in the Stanley Cup, or it's football in the Lombardi Trophy, or whatever your sports team is, and you look at all those guys out there hoisting their trophy. The only reason they're taking pleasure in holding that trophy is because of all the months and all the games and all the difficulty that they endured to get to that one moment. That's what makes the moment worthwhile. Just getting handed a trophy means nothing if you didn't go through it. If somebody just handed you a championship ring at the end of a season, it doesn't mean anything unless you know why you've been given that ring. If you know you were given that ring because you invested time and hardship and tears and sweat and blood and all that stuff went into it, and you were the last man standing or the last team standing, now that ring has real power, real meaning. Otherwise, it's just a piece of jewelry. That's what that ring right there in front of me represents. A moment that no one can take away from from me and my son. So, pretty awesome. I hope you get that moment. And again, please forgive me. I didn't know I was going to get so freaking messed up over this. Goodness gracious, Chris, get yourself together. Oh, gosh. Whew. Listen, encouraging words, stay in it, do not give up, never stop. You might be in a trial right now, and you're going to get through it. You got to believe that you will. Tomorrow will be that much better than today. And you got to shift your perspective and know that you can push and get through it, and that you can lean on others and get through it, that you can look up and get in the Bible and get some words of encouragement from some of that scripture that I just read to you. Reframe your struggle. See it as preparation and not punishment. It's just setting you up for the next time you endure something, that you're going to be able to handle it better. The person that you become in the trial is what qualifies you for the triumph. The person you become in the trial is what qualifies you for the triumph. I have no doubt that you can be triumphant. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me. I hope this was helpful. I hope some of the things I shared today, I know you know it was authentic because I got a little sappy there thinking about baseball and all those moments that I've already shared in my son's 14 years. But I hope you can have some of those moments with somebody in your life and enjoy those wins when they come, and they will come, and they're great. That's what keeps you going. That's what gets you through the next defeat or the next failure, is knowing that out there somewhere in the distance, out in your future, there is a win looming, and you just have to be ready for it, and you'll have more appreciation for it when it does arrive. So you can do it. Share this with a friend or a family member who could benefit from some of the things I shared today. It was a pleasure, as it always is, letting you see my heart a little bit, and things that I think about and things I hope can help you along on your journey. I'm just full of gratitude for the opportunity to share this message with you today. God bless you. Thanks for coming back, for supporting the Strong by Design podcast. We'll see you again next time. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.